With Power Rangers RPM wrapping up and Disney canceling the series altogether, Power Rangers was no more. At least for like a year, because Disney would sell Power Rangers back to its original owner and creator, Saban. Not only that, but he was able to get a partnership with Nickelodeon, which is pretty huge honestly. A lot of kids were watching Nickelodeon. So, with this golden goose in place, it was time to reboot Power Rangers. Samurai Sentai Shinkenger was the 33rd season of Super Sentai, following a group of young heroes inheriting the powers of the samurai. Shinkenger is heavily based on traditional Japanese culture. Samurai are also pretty cool, and should be simple to adapt into Power Rangers. Power Ranger Samurai, to my knowledge, is one of the most popular seasons of the show ever. Saban promoted the heck out of this season. It was a true welcome back home sort of feel. It honestly rivaled Mighty Morphin in terms of popularity. I mean, heck, in 2010 to 2011, I was starting high school and was stoked for Samurai after years of being somewhat disinterested in the franchise. Meaning, this is the first season of Power Rangers I was watching weekly and with a somewhat critical and analytical mindset. Nobody's smarter than a stupid 16-year-old. So, how did this reboot of Power Rangers go? Is Samurai truly worthy of the hype and love that fans praise it with? Well, let's find out. Origins Part 1. We get told about something called a gap, an entrance and exit between the Netherworld and ours, and it's home to an evil species known as the Nylok. This gap catches the attention of a child, where horrifying creatures immediately come spewing out. Before they can hurt him though, he's saved by two people, a sensei named Mentor G, and a Red Ranger. Mentor G tells these monsters called Moogers to leave or face the consequences, but the Red Ranger stops him, saying they've lost the option to retreat. He pulls out his blade, known as the Spin Sword, and lays waste to every single Mooger on his own. No matter how many comes his way, they're no match for the Red Samurai Ranger. We learn that his name is Jaden Shiba. Him and Mentor G mention how the Nylok attacks have been more frequent, and while Jaden is confident he can continue to handle it on his own, G tells him that he can't, and that it's time to form his team. You see, the Samurai Rangers have existed for generations, even before the Mighty Morphin ones, passing down the powers from parent to child. We get a glimpse of these other Samurai Rangers who have been training their whole lives, but never have been called upon, just knowing that their day will eventually come. There's Mike, a cool chill dude playing video games. Emily, a sweet country girl. Mia, the other girl. The one with the most character so far is Kevin. He's a competitive swimmer training for the Olympics. He's insanely disciplined and says he's ready to take on his samurai duties no matter what, even if that means giving up his Olympic dream. We then cut to the Netherworld and meet our villains. There's Octoru, the bumbling servant, Dayu, an evil and stoic woman who plays the shamisen, and their leader, the big bad villain, Master Xandrid. He's a cranky and easily agitated ruler, who may or may not have some qualities related to Rita Repulsa.
Silence, you fool! I have a splitting headache this morning!
He's angry to hear that he lost his last battle with the previous Samurai Rangers, so he wants to continue his mission to rule Earth. He sends down some Nylok and it triggers some sensors, Mentor G telling Jaden that now it's time to summon his allies. Mentor G fires a magic arrow to send the message to the new generation. They all come to the meeting place and we get some fun banter.
I'm sorry. I didn't know the Red Ranger was a girl.
Jaden then shows up on his horse and gives a pretty intense speech. However, they've all been training for this and accept without hesitation, giving them their morphers, the Samurizers. They're really cool. Their design is just a simple cell phone, but its actual function is reminiscent of an old school Japanese paintbrush, where they have to draw their symbol power in order to activate, well, their powers. They head to the Nylok attack after a quick change of clothes and get straight to work.
Go, go, Samurai! Rangers together! Samurai forever!
And together, they fight the Nylok army. The samurai suits are honestly and genuinely perfect. It captures the essence of a samurai with the robe on the chest, the kanji on the helmet is so unique and gorgeous, and the balance of their primary colors and black with the legs is a first for the series, at least for the entire team of Rangers. It's a very striking look. These suits are without a doubt S-tier perfection. The Rangers are doing their best fighting with the Nylok, but are having some problems. Luckily, Jaden tells them they have more weapons outside of their spin swords. For example, Jaden has his Fire Smasher, a giant buster sword that I'm surprised we've never had in Power Rangers as just a basic weapon. And with their new weapons, they destroy the monster. But Jaden says that the Nylok come pre-ordered with a Big Mode DLC, so once they're destroyed, they automatically grow big. So it's time to summon the Folding Zords! These are also pretty cool. They hang out with the Rangers in their civilian lives, but can grow and transform. They're basic shapes that can morph into animals, being very reminiscent of origami, another Japanese tradition. Again, I think that's so clever and unique. The Rangers even get Megazord exclusive suits! And with their Zords, they destroy the monster. They rendezvous back at the Shiba house, which will be the team's new home for their time as Power Rangers. Mentor G tells them good job, and they celebrate with a victory call.
Rangers together, Samurai forever!
Origins Part 2. Yeah, I forgot this was a multi-parter. Feels like we kinda wrapped things up for an opening episode, but whatever, fine. The Rangers are practicing their symbol power. Everyone's doing good, except Mike. He's a bit of a goofball and laid-back guy. He has really good chemistry with Kevin since they're polar opposites. Just then though, Mia shows up to say that Emily is missing. So everyone except Jaden goes out looking for her. During this search though, we see a goofy person tumble out of a bus. This is Spike, and he's here to meet with... Farkas Bulkmeyer! Yeah, this is Skull's son. He apparently sent him to Uncle Bulk to help give his life some direction. Spike is a spitting image of his father in his teenage years, and Bulk says that they're gonna be training together to become samurai. And I gotta say, after all these years, it's nice to know that the more things change, the more they stay the same.
You know, kid, you really gotta watch where you're going.
Meanwhile, the Rangers continue their search for Emily, but no luck. It's here we learn a bit more about the characters. Mia wants to one day start a family and have kids, but the samurai duty kinda puts a hold on that. She asks about Kevin's dream, and he says that it doesn't matter what he wants. His duty as a samurai comes first and foremost. And as for Mike, that looks pretty tasty. They eventually find Emily training by herself in the park. She says that she feels behind compared to the rest of the team, especially considering that she was never next in line to be the Yellow Ranger. It was supposed to be her sister here, but she fell ill, and Emily took her place. Emily is a total sweetheart and must be protected. Just then, the Nylok once again invade. You see, Master Xandrid can't go on Earth without it draining his life energy. He needs the water of the Netherworld, the Sanzu River, to keep him alive. So he needs to open up the gap large enough to allow the waters to flood the Earth. Octoroo learns that the humans' fears cause the gap to expand bigger and bigger. So the evil plan is to cause so much fear in humans and let their tears help flood the Earth. So, Jaden shows up and the Rangers morph and get into another fight. During the battle, Emily throws her Earth Slicer and it accidentally gets in Jaden's way, allowing the monster to get the upper hand. Emily feels awful, and when the monster lands a strong attack, she jumps in front of Jaden to take it for herself. Everyone gets unmorphed except Jaden. Emily is badly hurt, but Jaden prioritizes saving a little girl. Everyone is motivated by Jaden's perseverance, so they morph again and continue to fight. And together, they land their final strike! The monster of course grows big, and the Rangers summon their Folding Zords and brings them together! The Megazord this season really sucks. It's just a totem pole that... oh wait, no, they just messed it up. So they bring them together for real this time and create the Samurai Megazord. I love its design, very bulky and imposing. Plus the samurai helmet is a nice touch. What's cool is that the Moogers grow big this season as well, so it raises the stakes while also giving the Megazord some fodder to destroy. And with its big sword, they save the day. The episode ends with Emily apologizing for not being a great samurai right now, but Jaden reassures her that she's doing great. The Origins two-parter is alright. It really doesn't feel like a true two-parter though, but I'll go more into that in a minute. Power Rangers Samurai is the first season to air in widescreen and be presented in 5.1 surround sound, meaning this is technically the best Power Rangers has ever looked and sounded. The characters are, something. Kevin has the most potential, being the guy who sacrificed the most to become a ranger, and it's interesting to see where that goes. Emily is also very likable. She's sweet and precious, but knows she needs to toughen up to be a samurai ranger. Mike is my personal favorite so far, being the most realistic. He's a regular dude who isn't committed to the true samurai lifestyle. He's dedicated to being a hero, sure, but all the traditions and customs that come with being a samurai, he's clearly not that interested in. Mia is... the girl. Jaden, though, is the most confusing for me. You see, in episode 1, he states that he's used to working alone, and that he prefers it actually. However, when Mentor G says he needs a team and will be acting as a leader, he just kinda immediately goes with it and is gung-ho, giving motivational speeches to the team like he's been doing it for years. In part 2, when Emily was hurt and he instead decided to save the little girl, I think it would have been interesting if Jaden's character was someone who prefers to work alone and needs to learn over time how to be a teammate. Like at the end of that episode when Emily says, "Sorry for messing up," I think if Jaden was instead like, "That's okay, just don't do it again," in a stern but not mean way, that could have been something. Instead though, he's just a guy. And it doesn't help that apparently everyone doesn't know how to talk.
I promised my big sister to work hard so that I can be as good a fighter as the rest of you.
Like seriously man, every time any ranger opens their mouth, they sound so awkward.
Did you see how I rocked that mooger?
I must not fail. I am the Red Ranger.
You really are a master samurai.
I don't want to be a jerk, but like, Kevin is especially the worst. He always sounds like he's out of breath and that everything is a question.
About Emily. Were you even looking for her? Yes. The dedication of a samurai. Thank you for leading us into battle.
But that's okay, because it's time to talk about the theme song. The Samurai theme song is very divisive amongst Power Rangers fans, so let's give it a listen. It starts off with a very familiar sound, but I can't quite put my finger on it.
Jaden!
Oh, thank goodness every character says their name. I'm a dumb little baby and would have forgotten. But if I look past the stupid voices saying the stupid names, wait a second, I know this! Oh, hell yeah! Listen, I don't care what anyone says. In 2010, when I heard a new version of Go-Go Power Rangers, it was the coolest thing in the world. Instead, ending with Rangers Together, Samurai Forever, instead of You Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And even today, if you don't think that this goes incredibly hard, you are, low-key, dumb. Alright, maybe that was too harsh, but it's a great song. It's familiar, it's catchy, it's remixed enough that even if you're a little kid who never watched Mighty Morphin, you'll find yourself nodding your head. It works perfectly with morphs, fights, and Megazord finishers. Go-Go Power Rangers is the perfect hype song. And again, with Saban buying back the property he started all those years ago, it has a nice welcome home feel to it. It's kinda like having Bulk and Spike. They're just gonna be the comedic duo and pretty much serve no purpose outside of slapstick nostalgia comedy. But again, at the time, this nostalgia was absolutely hitting. Oh yeah, when Power Rangers Samurai first debuted, it was given some real grandeur. It aired at like 6 p.m. on a Monday. That's a pretty good time slot for Nickelodeon. And when they played the first episode of Power Rangers Samurai on Nickelodeon for the world to see, it wasn't Origins Part 1. No, the world's premiere of Power Rangers Samurai was The Team Unites. Mike is struggling to adjust to his new samurai life. It doesn't help that he feels like he's falling behind everyone else. So he heads to the arcade to play some video games with his friends. They ask where he's been since he's never at school and didn't even go to graduation. He speaks vaguely about his situation and how he feels like he can't keep up with everyone. They give him some motivating words about how he's the best at video games and can always read the opponents. Just then, a Nylok attacks and his friends get hurt in the process. So, Mike morphs and tries to fight it alone. However, he's overpowered and badly hurt. Luckily, the other Rangers show up and send the Nylok fleeing. Back at the Shiba house, Jaden tells Mike that seeing his friends puts them in danger. And while they're Rangers, nobody's allowed to see their friends or family for their protection. Which Mike realizes now, seeing his friends one last time from a distance, realizing the weight of responsibility he now bears. Him and Jaden spend all night training, thinking of a way to defeat this new Nylok, now locked in more than ever. The next day the same Nylok attacks, and when Mike shows up, he's now wearing a more serious face, and proceeds to give us the prettiest morph ever. I don't know, I think it's cool. The Rangers then fight the Moogers, while Mike puts his plan into action. Running away. You see, this Nylok has stretchy arms that he buries underground to give surprise attacks, so Mike is running all around town to tangle up his arms so he can't pull them back. And with the help of Jaden, the plan is a success, with Mike landing the finishing strike. Mike apologizes for going out on his own, and Jaden accepts it, saying they can do anything as long as they stick together. I have really fond memories of this episode because, again, this was the debut of Samurai everyone in the world saw. Sure, it was kinda weird not having a real introduction to these characters, but I think it was an alright start. And, to be honest, the acting has already drastically improved for some characters. The dialogue sounds a little less awkward. Deal with a Nylock. Kevin's going around asking everyone if they're doing alright and that they can always come to him, which has everyone a little confused. Meanwhile, another Nylock named Doubletone offers a plan to Master Xandred. We see Doubletone approach a little kid, and they're seemingly about to make some kind of deal, before the Rangers show up to fight and send him fleeing. Kevin and Mia take it upon themselves to investigate and ask the kid what happened. However, since they're just random adults approaching him, he rightfully doesn't say anything. This kid's name is Ryan. He loves baseball but recently quit his team, and this is why Kevin is so invested in helping him. And Mia realizes why Kevin has been worrying about everyone else recently. He misses his old life on the swim team. However, Kevin remains committed to the samurai life and won't let it affect him. Kevin's camping out all night to keep an eye on Ryan, and Mia is so moved by Kevin's dedication that she makes him a home-cooked meal. And it's here we learn more about Mia. She can't cook. She stays out with Kevin and we get a little moment between the two. Just then they see Ryan throwing away his baseball equipment, and Ryan finally gives in when he realizes that he was lied to. Doubletone said that if he gave up his dream of playing baseball, that in return, he would bring back his father, who's currently in the military. Of course, this was never going to happen, using this child's pain and tears to fill the Sanzu River. That's pretty messed up, man. You definitely deserve the ass whooping that Kevin and Mia lay on you. Which they of course do, destroying the monster and returning the baseball equipment back to Ryan. And for a nice ending, the Rangers show up to watch the game. Day off. Mentor gives everyone the day off. They're all going to a theme park, except Jaden, who stays behind to master the Beetle Disc, a strong power that, when mastered, will unlock new abilities. Jaden is pushing himself incredibly hard, causing pain and stress to his body, both physically and mentally. Mentor tells him that he knows he wanted to join the others, but Jaden says there's no time for breaks. Just then, a Nylock attacks and the Rangers gotta fight it. It's pretty powerful, and they lose, having Jaden work even harder to unlock the Beetle Disc. Which he eventually does. He puts it on his Fire Smasher and gives it a new cannon mode, where the Rangers can load in their disc and use it as a final strike. The Beetle surprise doesn't end here though, because they also unlocked a new Beetle Zord that can attach to their Megazord, destroying the Nylock. And the episode ends with Jaden learning to take a break with his friends. Also, the version of this episode that I have has a Nickelodeon ending promo, so enjoy 2 seconds of that. Sticks and Stones. Emily is being her usual accident-prone self. However, she's being harder on herself than usual. Luckily though, Mike is there to cheer her up and remind her of how great she really is. Just then though, Master Xandred sends down the most diabolical Nylock there is. Negatron. Yeah, I gotta make sure I enunciate that properly.
The Negatron!
He attacks people with insults.
You're just boring!
And it's hilarious. However, he says something interesting to Jaden.
You've got a secret.
A secret, you say? Huh. He tries to insult Emily, but it has no effect. This catches him off guard enough for Emily to smack him around a bit before retreating. Back at the Shiba house, everyone was shocked to see that Emily wasn't affected. But she says it's because she was teased her entire childhood. But her older sister said that whenever anyone insults you, just pretend like they said nothing at all. Whatever that means. But that advice apparently worked, and it's helped her entire life. It's continually throwing insult after insult at Emily. She's clearly hurt by them, but refuses to let them have any power. And with the help of Mike, Emily lands the finishing blow. After the Megazord battle, however, she passes out, clearly being drained by suppressing her emotions from the insults. Mike carries her home with everyone complimenting Emily's strength. A fish out of water. Jaden sends Kevin on a special mission to retrieve the swordfish Zord. He has to catch it by fishing. However, he's not having much luck, slowly getting more and more frustrated. Things only get worse though when the Nylock the rest of the Rangers are fighting poisons them, and the only cure can be found in that swordfish Zord, meaning that the clock's ticking and Kevin has more pressure. He eventually pushes himself to the point of passing out. Luckily, a local fisherman takes care of him, and together they manage to catch the swordfish Zord. I was kind of expecting the fisherman to give Kevin some fishing wisdom, like instead of being so uptight to instead just be one with the fish or something, but no. Which of course combines with the Megazord to give it a new helmet and Darth Maul style sword. The episode ends with a nice day back at the beach, but a mysterious figure is looming on. there goes the brides. We open up on a wedding between Jaden and Mia. Did we skip a few episodes? My bad. No, this is actually a setup to catch the Nylock. However, they don't take the bait and instead go after a real wedding. Dayu has an evil plan to kidnap brides and use their sorrow and tears for the Sansu River. But there also seems to be an ulterior motive, considering she's also creating her own wedding dress. Naturally, Mia is the most upset at this since, again, this is the most important thing to her. So the Rangers cancel all the weddings except one, where Mia and Emily will infiltrate and get kidnapped, rescuing the brides from the inside. The Rangers then get into a fight with Dayu and the Moogers. They defeat the Moogers and are about to land a final strike on Dayu, but she's saved by that mysterious warrior at the end of the last episode. This is Decker. Decker yearns for battle and feels like the Red Ranger will be his only worthy adversary. But now's not the time for the fight. I've got a spell on blue. Jaden and Kevin are sparring, with everyone impressed that Kevin can keep up, saying that if they ever had to fight for real, it would be crazy. But luckily, they'll never have to do that. So a Nylock comes to Earth and puts a curse on Kevin, putting him under his control and making him fight his allies. He's also in possession of the Tiger Zord somehow. Not the Tiger Zord, but another Tiger Zord belonging to the previous Red Ranger. We also see that Decker is half human, half Nylock, and his face may look somewhat familiar.
I'm a guardian of the earth! Ah!
Yep, this is Rick Medina, who played Cole in Wild Force. Anyway, the Rangers can't seem to break the curse on Kevin, so Jaden believes that the only way to free him is to defeat him in battle. He tells the other Rangers to stay back while he handles it. It's a very intense fight between friends. During it, Decker comes by to give his insights. Of course though, the Rangers don't know it's him. Decker is an incredibly skilled swordsman, reading Jaden like a book with his movements and battle plan. Jaden lights up his sword and strikes Kevin. However, it doesn't destroy him. Jaden used his symbol power to make a spell of his own that would destroy the Nylock's curse. He just needed to get close enough to Kevin to activate it. So they defeat the Nylock, regain the Tiger Zord, and with the Tiger Zord, defeat the Nylock. Forest for the trees. The Rangers are now splitting the power discs amongst the team. Jaden gets the Tiger Zord, Kevin gets the Swordfish since he caught it, and as for the beetle, Mentor decides to give it to Mia, with Mike feeling resentment towards that decision. So he once again pushes himself in training extra hard to prove himself. Everyone believes Mike should have gotten the Beetle Zord, but Mentor is adamant he's not ready. Just then, another Nylock attacks the city. Mia gets hit and the Beetle Disc flies out of her hand. Mike picks it up, but doesn't give it back, instead wanting to use it himself to prove he was the right choice. But when he tries to use the power, nothing happens, allowing the Nylock to retreat. Mentor lays into Mike for his selfish decision, benching him and even demanding his Samuraizer.
You don't know a thing about me, and if I'm not ready, then how can I do this?
Mentor breaks free, but Mike leaves the Shiba house. Everyone's conflicted on how to feel, saying they were both acting childish, and it's Jaden who needs to break through to Mentor, saying his teaching style may have worked on him, but it won't with Mike. Mentor agrees and now tries a different strategy, hopping on his motorcycle to try and reach Mike in a different way, a less strict and formal setting. He takes him to the forest since that's Mike's symbol power, where Mike is now more receptive to strengthening his spirit. Before they can continue, the Nylock returns to the city. The Rangers fight it but are overpowered. Just then, Mike shows up and morphs, now more serious than ever, truly being connected to the power of the forest, and with his newly found strength and power, he destroys the Nylock. During the Megazord fight, Mia also gives him the Beetle Disc, saying he's truly worthy of the power. They combine it with the Tiger and Swordfish Zord to create the Battle Wing, and they destroy the Nylock. And the episode ends with Mike and Mentor G getting along and understanding each other just a bit more. This is probably my favorite episode of the season so far. I love how Mike wasn't afraid to stand up to Mentor and even challenge him a bit physically with his powers. We've never seen that before. Test of the Leader. Master Xandred learns that Jaden's father put a seal on him, and that's the reason he's trapped in the Netherworld. So Jaden is the key to undoing that seal to set him free. So Xandred sends the Nylock and the Moogers to attack the city to lure out the Rangers. Bulk and Spike try to join the fight, to lackluster results. Mia ends up saving Spike, and he quickly falls in love with her. Like father, like son. The Rangers quickly learn that Jaden is the target, so they all defend him. Jaden, however, doesn't like that, taking Emily's sword and doing some cool anime slash with it to destroy the Moogers. Mentor G explains how Jaden's father used his symbol power to forever seal away Master Xandred. However, the symbol power was incomplete, which is why Xandred was able to rise again. It's a Red Ranger specific seal, meaning that Jaden is the only one who has the potential to seal away Xandred permanently. So the Rangers believe their mission is to protect Jaden so he can master it. But Jaden is adamantly against that plan, not wanting the Rangers to focus on protecting him. Emotions run high when another Nylok attacks. They tell Jaden to stay behind and not deal with these meaningless fights, but he ignores them, instead fighting on his own. This recklessness of course backfires, with Jaden being overwhelmed and the Rangers taking a big hit to protect him. Things only go from bad to worse, because Decker shows up demanding to fight. He wants Jaden for himself, but the Nylok says no, leading to a fun three-way fight with no alliances being made. The Nylok eventually retreats and Decker makes his message clear to Jaden. He exists only to battle. His sword Uramasa hungers for one worthy opponent, and he believes that opponent is Jaden. However, because he's too wounded from the previous fight, Decker doesn't bother, waiting for Jaden to be at his best. Back at the Shiba house while everyone is recovering from their wounds, Jaden leaves without telling anyone, believing that his teammates have sacrificed enough and that this is a war he needs to fight on his own. Jaden's challenge. Jaden sees how much the Rangers are willing to sacrifice for him, and he feels like he isn't worthy of that. However, the Rangers feel the complete opposite, worrying about Jaden's whereabouts and just caring about him as a friend. Master Zandred learns that Decker was hiding the fact that he knew the Red Ranger was the key to his freedom, so those two get into a fight. Zandred gets the upper hand, but Decker manages to use his human form to escape. Jaden is hanging out at the park comforting a sad child, when Zandred sees that he's alone and sends the Moogers to ambush him. We get a cool Unmore fight. Jaden gets to use the spin sword to fend them off. He does his best, but is quickly overpowered. Just then though, the Rangers show up to protect their friend. Jaden sees how much his friends truly do care about him, and together, they destroy the Moogers and the Nylok. The episode ends with Jaden apologizing for being selfish, and Mentor saying that he can tell them his secret when the time is right. Jaden's character is kinda hot and cold. One minute he's touting the importance of teamwork and how they need to work together as one, and the next he's struggling with the concept of having friends. It's like they wanted to make him a lone wolf, but never fully committed to it. Unexpected arrival. We open up on an eccentric man saying he's ready for his golden moment. He shoots an arrow at the Shiba house with a message that says, "See you soon." Meanwhile, the Nylok sensor goes off, but there's none to be found, so the Rangers investigate the area to see what's up. The mystery man hands Emily a flyer for his fish market, but Emily notices the handwriting on the ad matches the writing on the arrow message. He's confronted, but uses some Tom and Jerry slapstick to escape. That guy will have to wait though, since a powerful Nylok is attacking the city. The Rangers try to fight it, but his special ability makes it difficult. And when the Rangers are up against the ropes, the mystery fishman feels like now's the time for his debut. Nobody is naturally happy to see him, but he does bust out a morpher.
Gold power! Gold is good to go!
Morphing into the Gold Samurai Ranger. Still, nobody's impressed. However, I'm definitely impressed when he busts out his Barracuda blade and does this. He's very energetic and goofy, sometimes bordering on clumsy with his enthusiasm, but he is very powerful, destroying the Nylok, along with his Octozord. That's a squid, but whatever. When Jaden sees the Octozord, he recognizes who this man might be. After the battle, he returns to apologize for the arrow and flashy entrance, where Jaden recognizes him as Antonio, his childhood best friend who moved away, leading to this interesting scene.
Believe it, baby, I'm back! And I'm ready for some action. You still think you can take me?
I'm just kidding. They actually just beat each other's ass. That doesn't help much either, does it? Antonio's a pretty fun Gold Ranger. He's eccentric and quirky, bordering on annoying, but never reaches that for me. He's just very enthusiastic. Plus, the Gold Ranger suit is gorgeous. The gold and dark blue, mwah, mwah, always a great look. Room for one more. So the gang are deciding on whether or not Antonio should officially join the team. You see, he's not a true samurai. His father was a fisherman, but he's dedicated his life to training to become one. He's great with gadgets, literally creating his own morpher from a busted cell phone, and using technology to communicate with the Octozord. Jaden's happy to see his friend again, but is on the fence on what he should truly do. Where Mentor G then not only says Antonio isn't worthy of joining the team, but he takes away his morpher? Like, no, you can't do that, he made that! Antonio asks Jaden to vouch for him, but he says that Mentor is right. He's not a true samurai and can't join the team. The Rangers get called away to fight a Nightlock. However, this one is very powerful and the Rangers lose. They say having Antonio join the team is their best move, but Jaden still refuses. And after some persuading from Antonio and the power of childhood flashbacks, Jaden accepts him as the 6th Samurai Ranger. So together, they all head to the...
Can you guys move down just a bit?
Where the entire team morphs and the Samurai Rangers are now stronger than ever, with Jaden and Antonio using the power of friendship for a double finishing move. Antonio also learns that he can combine the Octozord with the Samurai Megazord. They defeat the Nightlock, and the episode ends with friendship conquering all. The blue and the gold. Everyone's happy to have Antonio on board, except Kevin, who's still hung up on the fact that Antonio isn't a true samurai with the formal training and background, even though he was able to fix a damaged Zord, the Claw Zord. So to earn Kevin's respect, Antonio spies on him to learn how to be a true samurai. He follows Kevin on his morning run, but notices something strange, also immediately knowing Antonio's been spying on him. Some Nightlock are performing a ritual, and they set up evil barriers, so Kevin and Antonio can't contact the others. So they hop into a fight with just the two of them. Antonio gets badly injured and they retreat. And when Kevin tells Antonio to just lay back, he refuses, saying he'd never ask any of the other Rangers to retreat, and says he's gonna stay and fight until the very end. Kevin realizes he's been wrong, apologizing and says Antonio does have the heart of a true samurai. We also get this funny moment. Kevin says the others will come looking for him when they realize he doesn't show up for training, since he of course follows a very strict schedule. And with training being at 8 o'clock...
Okay, enough waiting.
We also get a moment between Decker and Dayu. She asks if he remembers anything from his past, but he says no, which saddens Dayu. Back with the Rangers though, they defeat the Nightlock, and Antonio truly cements himself as a real samurai. Team Spirit. It's Emily's birthday tomorrow, so the gang want to throw her a surprise party. We also get a nice moment between Antonio and Decker, not knowing each other's secret identities.
I know what you got there. It's fishing rods.
Offering to cook him a nice meal, but Decker says, maybe next time. A Nightlock then attacks the city. He steals people's souls and keeps them for himself, where he manages to get a hold of Emily's, putting her into a state of comatose, and in 24 hours, everyone whose souls were stolen will die. And to make it worse, the Nightlock says he's just going to stay in the Netherworld, where no human can visit. Everyone is worried about Emily. She manages to wake up momentarily to apologize, saying she knows she's in danger, before falling back asleep. Mike then loses his temper, storming out of the house and angrily yelling and slashing at the wall where the Nightlock escaped into, demanding it comes out. Decker then pulls up and says that there is a way to save Emily. To give up your humanity and become part Nightlock, like him, then you can enter the Netherworld. And Mike, without hesitation, offers himself up to do it, saying Emily is the best of them, and her kind soul is needed on this planet. Everyone also steps up and is willing to give up their humanity. Luckily though, Antonio shows up with a new life symbol power, and with it, he's able to drag the Nightlock back to Earth, where they strike it down. With the new life symbol power, Antonio is also able to give the Claw Zord its own fighting Megazord formation. And with it, they destroy the monster, and all the souls are returned. Ending, of course, with Emily's birthday celebration. The Tengen Gate. Despite the Rangers winning their battles, the Sanzu River is still rising, and Master Xandred is gaining power from the human spheres, currently absorbing new power, meaning right now, there's no one leading the Nightlock. A monster named Arachnator shows up and forces Octoroot to help him overthrow Xandred, so he can become the new master. The Nightlock attacks are getting stronger and stronger, and the Rangers need a new plan. That's when Mentor tells them of an ancient artifact, known as the Black Box. It requires a lot of symbol power to activate, and because of that, it's never been fully finished. But with no other options, the Rangers say they need to at least try to activate it. So they head to its location at the Tengen Gate, the battle place of the first ever team of Samurai Rangers and the Nightlock. Meanwhile, Antonio once again runs into Decker.
You've come to accept my challenge.
Challenge? Baby barracuda fish kebab.
And funnily enough, Decker actually sits down to eat the meal. Back with the Rangers though, Arachnator and the Moogers infiltrate the Tengen Gate, causing mayhem and getting into a fight, with Jaden being poisoned by Octoroot, saying he'll give him the cure if he gives him the seal to free Xandred. But Jaden refuses. Antonio gets called to help, and when he mentions the Tengen Gate, it catches Decker's attention. Arachnator is very powerful, laying waste to the Rangers and leaving them unmorphed and weakened. But they're saved by Xandred of all people, who awakens to punish Arachnator for his treachery. Antonio fights off Octoroot and sends him fleeing. As for Jaden though, Decker comes to take him away, saying that the time for their battle has arrived. Boxed in. With the black box now in the Rangers' possession, they believe Antonio is the best person for the job. Where traditional samurai symbol power has failed, Antonio's unorthodox method with technology may be the key they need. However, there's a lot of pressure on him, not only to awaken the black box, but to defend the city since the Rangers are still badly injured. Zandrid has also had enough, torturing Arachnator and evolving his form to work as one of his underlings, as well as telling Dayu to destroy Decker. Decker took Jaden to a magical spring, where the water will cleanse the poison from his body. He's of course doing this to have Jaden be at 100% for their fight. We also get a moment between the two while he's recovering. Jaden says he's not going to fight for the sake of it, but Decker says he has ways to convince him otherwise. He doesn't know why he craves battle. It's all he knows and says he doesn't have a choice, and says that him and Jaden are more alike than he thinks. All the while, Dayu is watching on, not wanting to attack. A Nylok attacks the town and the Rangers, despite their injuries, say they'll take care of it. Antonio needs to focus on activating the black box. The Rangers do their best to fight, but they're overpowered. Antonio says he can't finish the black box right now, lacking the power, and instead wants to focus on helping his friends, locating Jaden and taking him away. And Decker allows it because Jaden still has lingering weakness from the poison. So together, they destroy the Nylok. The episode ends with Jaden not wanting to hang out with his friends, but changing his mind when he realizes he doesn't want to be like Decker. Alone. Broken dreams. Zandrid is going to punish Dayu for not destroying Decker. He destroys her harmonium, the only thing that's given her happiness for her entire existence. Her and a Nylok attack the city, with Mia chasing down Dayu. This Nylok is able to put people to sleep and lets them live out their happiest dreams before dying. He hits both Mia and Dayu with the spell, letting Mia traverse through Dayu's happiest dream. We see that she was once married to Decker. They were both once normal humans. On their honeymoon, she got him the Uramasa sword, and he gave her a guitar. Unfortunately, while they were sleeping, a fire broke out and Decker was killed. She begs for help, and that's when a mysterious Nylok shows up, saying he'll revive him, if she becomes a Nylok herself. She agrees, but as we learned earlier, never make a deal with a Nylok. She revived Decker to become this warrior who only yearns for battle, completely erasing his memory of everything before that. And as for Dayu, she became a Nylok, a sorrowful soul, with the only thing bringing her comfort being the instrument that her husband gave her. The Rangers hop into the dream and manage to free everyone. Mia tries to connect with Dayu, but she's a lost cause, not wanting any help. And the episode once again ends with Decker confronting Jaden. The ultimate duel. Decker is tired of waiting, saying him and Jaden will finally fight in 24 hours, and to make sure Jaden shows up, he says that he won't contain his Nylok side and will attack innocent people if he refuses to fight. Now, here's where things get kinda complicated. We need a reason for Jaden and Decker to fight one-on-one. Jaden just says he needs to do it. Rightfully though, Kevin asks why they're taking orders from a Nylok. Why not just do the typical 5-on-1 Power Rangers fight we're used to having? He's no different than any other villain, and Jaden has no personal reason to want to fight Decker alone, but still, he's adamant that he needs to do this. This is where Jaden really lacking a character becomes a problem. Again, if they made him more of a lone wolf who focused more on fighting the Nylok instead of wanting a team, it would make more sense as to why he wants to do this battle alone, selfishly making that decision. Now, as for Decker, Master Zandrid specifically says that if Decker destroys Jaden, it will destroy the seal and allow him to be free. So wait a minute. Up until now, Zandrid said that he needs Jaden alive to break the seal. It's why he's been battling with Decker this whole time. But now, apparently, it's okay if Jaden is destroyed, since that will free him.
If he eliminates the Red Ranger, he'll destroy Red sealing power too.
Then nothing will stand in our way.
Yes.
So, why have you not been letting Decker fight this entire time? I am baffled at this straight up retconning from 1 episode ago. Anyway, before their fight, Dayu has one last conversation with Decker, hoping that win or lose, the curse will be broken, and he'll hopefully get his memory back. So, him and Jaden meet up for their epic fight. It's technically very exciting and well done. The swordplay is awesome, but unfortunately, there's no real weight or emotion behind it. Eventually, Jaden gets the upper hand and strikes down Decker. Decker admitting defeat before falling off the cliff, saying he honored him well. Jaden got pretty messed up himself during the fight. and the episode ends with everyone hanging out and being happy together, while Mentor takes another glance at the black box.
Rangers together! Samurai forever!
And that's the end of Power Rangers Samurai. Yep, the TV show under the name Power Rangers Samurai is over. But what about Zandrid? 20 episodes? That's it? Well, hold your horses. You see, the way Nickelodeon apparently handles some TV shows is kinda dumb. Apparently, from what I can find, for Power Rangers to air its full 40 episodes, it needed to be broken up into 2 seasons with 2 different names spanning 2 years. I've never heard of this before. Like, what the hell? I don't recall there being a SpongeBob Super SquarePants. I remember the airing process also being really rough. They had 365 days to air 20 episodes. If I remember correctly off the top of my head, in February, every Saturday, they would air a new episode of Samurai, but only for like 10 weeks. Then they would take like a 7-month break before coming back in like October or something to air the rest of the episodes. That was a horrible time, man. Anyway, 1 year later on February 18th, 2012, we would get Power Rangers Super Samurai. Yeah, what's the AVGN quote? Super Samurai, cause it super sucks. No, okay, I shouldn't say that. It's literally just the continuation of the show. Nothing's changed. I guess I can kind of give my thoughts on the season so far. I do enjoy Samurai. The story is pretty engaging, but definitely a step down from the Disney seasons, specifically RPM. However, the reason Samurai is pretty good is apparently because they literally just ripped off the Sentai plot story beat for story beat. This is apparently as close as you can get to just dubbing Shinkenger. Now, I've never seen Shinkenger, but people praise that season as one of the best, while saying Samurai is not very good. So what kinda went wrong? Well, if I had to guess, it's the characters. While you can rip off character traits and story beats, you can do all of that while ignoring character work. But this is Saban. This season has technically started a new era of Power Rangers, dubbed the Neo-Saban era, and Saban did what he honestly does best: promote the hell out of Power Rangers. Disney, while creating great shows, never cared about the property too much, but this being Saban's baby, he was all over it, putting Power Rangers toys back in McDonald's, creating so many different action figures. Seriously, toy stores were covered in head to toe with Samurai merchandise. I even distinctly remember watching the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade and smiling like an idiot when the Power Rangers showed up.
Power Rangers Samurai, the #1 kids action series on TV.
And ultimately, this is what matters, replicating that kind of success from Mighty Morphin Season 1. The story is something I can nitpick as an annoying YouTuber, sure, but for a kid, this story totally works fine. The action is exciting, it moves at a nice pace. It honestly felt like Power Rangers Samurai was as close as we'd get to replicating the Mighty Morphin mania of the 90s. And again, it helped being on Nickelodeon, promoting the Red Ranger next to SpongeBob and iCarly. Heck, they went so all out that there was even a new Power Rangers movie, a made-for-TV special, a 2-parter that would air as a quote-unquote movie. Clash of the Red Rangers, a crossover special with RPM, not being afraid to immediately show some love to the previous era. Now, this is a movie that I have a lot to say about. So much so that it needs its own dedicated video. I know, I'm sorry. We're doing things a little different with this one. Listen, by the time you're watching this, it'll be like a couple of weeks and my review of it will be up. So be on the lookout for that. The Neo-Saban era would also introduce Halloween and Christmas specials. They were just clip show episodes with Halloween and Christmas themes respectively. There's not much to talk about, so I'm just gonna skip them. As much as I may nitpick this season so far, I am really enjoying myself. There's not a lot of filler, and I personally find Samurai very charming. Maybe it's some nostalgia talking, but I don't care. So with all of that, let's move on to Power Rangers Super Samurai. Starting off with Super Samurai. The Rangers have noticed the Sanzu River water has been seeping into the mortal world, where anything that touches it instantly catches fire. So they need to find a way to seal it so humans don't get hurt. Meanwhile, Antonio needs to get back to work on finishing the black box. Arachnator escaped Xandrid's wrath and has been hiding in the mortal realm this whole time, so the Rangers gotta stop him. Unfortunately, he's used this time to grow even stronger and they lose the fight. so they plan on ambushing him instead. But Octoroo is 2 steps ahead, placing seals around the area that block the Rangers' morphing powers. And when Arachnator and the Moogers attack, the Rangers have only themselves and their spin swords to rely on. It's a fun fight, needing to avoid the Sanzu water as to not burn. Eventually, Jaden and Kevin find the seals and destroy them. Antonio also shows up, finishing the black box and ready to unleash its power.
Super Samurai Mode!
It acts as a battleizer form, giving Jaden a cool white robe and boosting his power. And with the black box in their arsenal, Jaden strikes down Arachnator.
Super Blazing Strike!
Also with its power, they can combine all of their Megazords. Its finishing move is super cool, shooting out all the spirits in a very Jungle Fury-esque way, destroying Arachnator once and for all. The episode ends with the Rangers going around town to cover up the Sanzu River water. The river is rising, the Nylok are getting stronger, and there's only one way to stop them.
We have to be Super Samurai.
I don't even think I can be mad at that. I wanna be, but I'm not. Shell game. An armadillo Nylok attacks the city. It has an indestructible shell, and when the Rangers try to fight, they can't lay a scratch on it since it's indestructible. They rendezvous back at the home to figure out what they can do, and that's when Kevin has a plan. The B-plot for this episode has Antonio accidentally dropping his morpher, with Bulk and Spike coming across it to look for its rightful owner. The Rangers meanwhile put Kevin's plan into action, to use their elemental powers to weaken the shell. Mike and Emily's stone wall reinforced with vines, Mia's wind to increase Jaden's fire temperature, and Kevin's water to finish the job. What's cool is that the black box can also be shared between the Rangers, so Kevin gets to use the black box to destroy the Nylok. The episode ends with the Rangers returning Antonio's morpher, only to realize he missed the entire adventure. But give him a break, he did finish the black box single-handedly. I think he's earned a day of fishing. Trading places. A Nylok named Switchbeast attacks the city. He's able to transfer the souls of people into inanimate objects, such as Jaden being trapped in a gnome and Antonio in a fish. Naturally, if the objects are destroyed, then it will also destroy the human soul trapped inside. Everyone gets caught except Mike and Emily, meaning it's up to the 2 of them to work together to free everyone and save the city.
What happened to the others? I can't let that happen to you.
Nothing's gonna happen to me.
Yeah, if you couldn't tell, Mike and Emily have always had a bit of flirty energy between them, but now they're really playing into it. I think they're a cute duo personally. Mike meanwhile comes up with a plan, and to help assist him, Mentor gives him the black box. So they set their plan into motion, to trick Switchbeast into transferring his soul into Mike, and with Mike in control of Switchbeast's powers, they then put Switchbeast into a soccer ball and kick him into submission, forcing him to put everyone back into their own bodies. Oh, that's nice. The Nylok reformed and turned good. Oh no, never mind. And with the power of the black box, Mike strikes down Switchbeast. The episode ends with Emily telling Mike he did a great job today, but he says that he couldn't have done it without her. And we also see Dayu, exiled from the Netherworld, and plotting her revenge against Xandrid. Something fishy. Antonio gets called to help the Rangers in a fight, but he's scared, too petrified to morph or even look at his Barracuda blade. You see, Antonio is actually suffering PTSD from the last episode. When he was turned into a fish, he was seconds away from being eaten alive by a nearby cat. In the episode, it's played up for laughs, but it's clearly had an effect on him. So the other Rangers and Mentor kindly tell Antonio to get over it, stop being a baby. They all try to help him by conquering their own fears and show him that it's not too bad. However, it doesn't work, not being able to join when another Nylok attacks. However, Mentor says he can still be useful, to use his symbol power to activate another fallen Zord, the Light Zord, this cool lantern. Back in the Netherworld, we're introduced to a new general, Serrator. He offers his services to Xandrid after proving he's incredibly powerful, pledging his loyalty. He heads outside to fight the Rangers, easily handling them 5-on-1. Serrator is no joke. Luckily though, Antonio shows up, fully morphed and wielding the Light Zord, where it's apparently able to be used as a blaster. And with it, Antonio sends Serrator fleeing. But there's still a giant Nylok to take care of. So naturally, Antonio summons the Light Zord's Megazord formation, and they destroy the Nylok. Back at the Shiba house, we see that Antonio is totally cured. How did that happen? Mentor just showed up and shoved sushi in his mouth, and the tasty food was enough for him to get over his PTSD. I didn't know it was that easy. So the moral of this episode is literally just get over it. The rescue. Mentor and Antonio are working together on the Light Zord. However, Mike is being obnoxious and messing with Antonio. To get some peace and quiet, the two continue their research in the park. However, Zord sees that they're alone and ambushes the two, knocking them out before taking them away. The Rangers head to their location and see that they were too late, with Mike feeling guilty, saying that if he wasn't messing around, they wouldn't have had to come here. Antonio and Mentor are being used as bait, but Antonio shows that he left a trail using his fishing spool, and it'll lead the Rangers right to them. We then get a really nice moment, with Mentor saying how he was wrong to have judged Antonio so harshly in the beginning.
You are truly worth your weight in gold. Sure.
That's precious. The Rangers of course find the line and the light Zord. They get jumped by the Moogers but manage to fight them off. During the fight, Jaden sees what Antonio was working on, a new shark disc in the light Zord. He activates it and it unlocks another power-up form, the Shark Attack mode. Stupid name. Along with the Shark Sword. It gives Jaden another cool jacket and allows his spin sword to stretch and have a whip effect, taking out hordes of Nylok like if it were nothing. The rest of the episode is a really long and genuinely exciting fight. They really want to show off the Shark Sword. Plus, the other Rangers just whooping ass is tons of fun. They save Antonio and Mentor and destroy the Nylok. And of course, there's a new Shark Zord. The Bull Zord. A young boy named Cody tells the Rangers he has a Zord. Basically, his family have been deemed the protectors of the Bull Zord, a wild Zord that can't be contained. But Cody says he's connected with it emotionally and the Bull Zord just wants to be free, but everyone has cold feet about it. Cody eventually gets so frustrated that he decides to use his symbol power to free the Bull Zord on his own. But, as expected, it's out of control, going on a rampage with Cody trapped inside. Meanwhile, the Nylok want the Bull Zord for themselves. So, the Rangers need to fight the Nylok, save Cody, and tame the Zord, granting the Rangers a new power-up, the Shogun mode. This is really pretty. A big, bulky, traditional samurai outfit. It's so intimidating. The only issue I have is that it's apparently just an outfit that's used in the cockpits during Megazord fights. Like, what? You got this awesome thing just for that? Anyway, the Bull Zord transforms into its Megazord mode, and it destroys the Nylok. He ain't heavy metal, he's my brother. Mia's brother Terry is visiting town. Terry's working to become a doctor, but also has rock star aspirations, putting on a show for charity. He wants Mia to sing since she's pretty good, and they did it all the time as kids. However, she doesn't want to. Also telling Terry that he should be focusing on his schoolwork instead of playing rockstar. But luckily, Antonio's there to fully support him, apparently being a rocker himself. There's not much to this episode, honestly. The gang need to fight Zord, and Mia uses the black box since, I guess this is her episode. After that long battle, the gang want to just go to Terry's concert and relax. Everyone except for Mia. However, when she learns it's for charity, this changes her mind, fully supporting her brother and showing up to sing. Now, the song that they play, I'll be honest, I kinda love it.
All we wanna have is fun, fun, fun.
Like, yeah, it's cheesy, yeah, it's kinda generic, but Antonio's got some pipes, and I'd be lying if I said I haven't gone out of my way to search for this song. It's got that 2010s Owl City yay sound to it. I give Everyday Fun 10 out of 10.
Let's just make this party last.
Kevin's choice. Kevin sees his old swim team and realizes that he misses it. However, he knows he can't go back because of his commitments he made to the team. Meanwhile, Zord convinces Dayu to work for him, saying he'll fix her harmonium, and shows her that Decker is still alive. During his fight, Jaden only destroyed Decker's sword, and the curse can only be broken when either him or his opponent are slain in battle. Zord also says he can fix Decker's sword if he works for him, which they both agree to since they've been exiled by Master Xandred and just want their weapons fixed. Despite this episode being called Kevin's Choice, there's never a moment where it feels like he's willing to quit being a ranger. He goes back to his swim team to chat, some are happy to see him while others aren't, but there's never that feeling or moment where it looks like he misses it that much. He feels more like someone who graduated high school years ago and is coming back looking at the glory days. Anyway, the Rangers need to fight a Nylok, and during the Megazord fight, Kevin is able to combine all of the Zords. Every single Zord comes together to create the Samurai Gigazord. Feels kinda overpowered to use it on a random throwaway Nylok. And with its power, obviously, they destroy it. And the episode ends with Kevin going to the swim meet and taking the place of one of his teammates who was injured, getting to live his dream for one afternoon. It's an okay episode. I do wish that maybe Kevin had more of a struggle with what he should do. Maybe if he argued with Mentor, that would have been fun, since Kevin never fights with him. It's just an idea. 10 plus years later. Runaway Spike. So we can finally talk about Bulk and Spike. Up to this point, they've served no purpose. They literally act as Family Guy cutaway gags, leaving the main plot for some slapstick. This episode starts off really sad, actually. Bulk receives a letter that he's behind on rent, and Spike feels bad, wanting to help out. He tries to get a job, but unfortunately isn't very good at anything, getting fired from 3 jobs in one afternoon. A Nylok attacks the area, but Spike is too depressed to even care or run away. After the Rangers lose their fight, Mia goes to check on him, where he of course falls in love and says something silly and fun.
I'm a loser, okay? I said it, there you go.
Oh, that's not fun. Him and Mia have a nice moment. He mentions how he's training to become a samurai, and Mia says that a samurai always believes in themselves, which gives Spike some motivation. It's nice to see that Spike isn't like his dad, harassing girls. Meanwhile, the Nylok the Rangers were dealing with creates clones of itself, so Mia says they can reflect light off of them to reveal the real one. I only mention that because the next fight they have takes place at night, which is pretty rare in Power Rangers, and it looks awesome.
Pink Ranger, ready!
Why are they aura farming this low-level Nylok? Anyway, Mia gets to use the black box as well as the Shogun mode to destroy the Nylok. The episode ends with Mia catching back up with Spike, saying that random fisherman over there will pay them for catching fish. Okay, I'm sure Antonio appreciates that. The strange case of the munchies. While out shopping, Emily puts on a tough girl outfit, but Mia says it's not really her. She's tough, just in her own way. But Emily isn't happy with that, still feeling insecure about her place on the team. While leaving the store, Mia drops her wallet, and who else would find it other than Bulk and Spike? Bulk saying that if he returns it, Mia will fall in love with her hero. I don't know if you can trust Bulk's knowledge on the ladies. A Nylok attacks the city that hits people with dirt. Doing so makes them incredibly hungry, and they'll eat non-stop until they become a deviant art category. Emily wants to prove herself by jumping into the fight, however, all the Rangers get hit with a spell while protecting her, now eating everything and being useless, leaving it up to Emily to save the day. And if things couldn't get worse, Bulk and Spike head to the Shiba house to return Mia's wallet. Also, why does her ID have the Shiba house as her address? Whatever, they sneak inside and realize it's a dojo, wanting to train to become samurai. For some reason, Mentor doesn't kick them out and needs Emily to do it, but it leads to a fun moment. Emily dresses up as a drill instructor and gets to be assertive, putting Bulk and Spike through intense samurai training to keep them busy, realizing she does have what it takes to be tough. And with that confidence, as well as the black box, she destroys the curse and destroys the Nylok. The episode ends with her retrieving the wallet and sending Bulk and Spike home. Personal criticism here, I kinda wish Emily said something nice to Bulk and Spike. They did return the wallet, and they did actually do Emily's tough drills. I think sending them home with some nice motivation like, you guys are stronger than I thought, or something, would be nice. A sticky situation. A Nylok is able to glue Kevin and Mike's hands together, and if they don't defeat it in time, they'll be stuck that way forever. Jaden even tries to use his spin sword to destroy it, but no luck. Naturally, the two spend a lot of their time bickering with one another, with the episode of course needing both of them to learn to be in sync. The big thing is Mike admitting that Kevin is more skilled than him, but not wanting to say it out loud. However, Mike is more creative with his strategies, which Kevin is jealous of. And with both of them now in perfect harmony, they destroy the Nylok and free themselves. Trust me. Serrator casts a spell that covers a small town in ash, causing everyone to hide in fear. This trap was done to lure out the Rangers. They split up to investigate, and that's when Serrator makes his move. He ambushes Mike and Antonio. Dayu confronts Emily and Kevin, leaving Jaden and Mia for Decker. Jaden's surprised to see that he's still alive, but is confident he can beat him again. However, he was very wrong. Decker lays waste to him in a matter of seconds, not being impressed with Jaden and wondering if he's even worth the ultimate battle anymore. Saying relying on his team has caused him to lose his edge. This shakes up Jaden, who's starting to doubt himself, thinking Decker might be right. However, Mia is trying to tell him otherwise. Jaden confronts Decker on his own once again, but is laid out, with Mia coming to his rescue and saying this.
We're Rangers together, samurai forever.
God, shut up, it's so stupid. This is supposed to be an emotional moment to convince Jaden that having a team isn't a weakness. You might as well have said, we can't give up, we're super samurai. Anyway, everyone regroups and we have another big fight. This entire episode is a fight and it's honestly really cool, with Mentor bringing a new weapon that Cody invented. Yeah, remember Cody? the Bullzooka, a bull gun, where they destroy the Nylock and save the city. This episode also starts hammering home Jaden's secret, implying something dark that would forever change the team's view on him. The Master returns. During practice, Jaden gets a little too rough, being haunted by his loss to Decker and his taunts. So now we have a new character trait for Jaden, I guess. He's a passionate fighter who gets insulted when someone mocks his skill. Again, this was never established, but after a talk with Mentor, he's cooled down and remembers that they're Rangers together, samurai forever. Ugh, that didn't feel good. Meanwhile, Master Zandrid demands Dayu come back to play her music. I don't think I really explained that properly. Dayu's despair she plays from the harmonium soothes Zandrid's headaches, since it's her human side that's suffering through the music, which is pretty metal. Octoroo gets suspicious of Serrator and follows him, learning of his true intentions, to become the true ruler of the Netherworld and destroy Zandrid. Dayu also learns that Serrator lied to her this whole time. He only wanted Decker as his pawn, and was going to use the harmonium's sad music for himself. This angers Dayu when they get into a fight, with the Rangers also there battling the Moogers. However, an evil presence rocks the earth. Zandrid learns of Serrator's betrayal, being so furious that he strikes at Octoroo and says he's going to the mortal world to destroy Serrator himself. His entrance is really intimidating. The skies go dark and the world is illuminated by nothing more than blood-red lighting. However, because of the Red Ranger seal, he quickly starts drying out and losing his life force. But even in his very weakened state, we see just how strong Master Zandrid really is, completely deflecting the Rangers' final strike back at them, breaking Jaden's spin sword in two, and flying around like a Dragon Ball Z character avoiding the Bullzooka blasts, before landing his own devastating strike on Jaden. This is also the Rangers' first encounter with Zandrid. I kinda like it, honestly. Up to this point, Zandrid has just been a fairy tale monster to them. They've heard about him, but never truly experienced his power until now. Serrator retreats, and before Zandrid fully dries out, he tells Dayu he'll fix her harmonium if she vows to never leave his side again, which she agrees to. The episode ends with Zandrid needing to plunge in the Sanzu River waters to heal, but while he's down there, Serrator uses this opportunity to start his plan. A crack in the world. After their loss to Zandrid, the Rangers are training harder than ever. During that, Kevin has a realization. All of Serrator's Nylock attacks have followed a pattern. He concentrated human suffering in a straight line, weakening the area and letting the river water seep through. Serrator plans on literally cutting the world open to have the Sanzu River water flood the earth. However, Octoroo says that's dangerous and risks destroying both the human world and the Netherworld. But Serrator doesn't care. With the final piece of his plan being Decker. Only someone who resides both in the human and netherworld can do this, using Uramasa to slice it open. However, Decker says no, he's not interested in destroying humanity, but Serrator says that if he does this deed, it will also free him. The Rangers meanwhile are fighting a Nylock in the final pinpoint of the map, but are too late. Enough fear has been caused, and blasts from the netherworld start opening up on all the locations, meaning all that's left is for Decker to fully strike it open. Stroke of fate. The blast knocked everyone out. Antonio wakes up and sees Decker weakened and unarmed, thinking that this is his chance to kill him in his weakened state. However, he can't bring himself to do it. He's having regrets though. At the Shiba house, he says he had the chance to kill Decker, but couldn't do it. However, the others tell him that he did the right thing. Antonio feels like he made a mistake, leaving on his own to end Decker. Meanwhile, Decker is at his honeymoon spot where he passed away, saying he feels connected to it somehow, but doesn't fully know why. For some reason, Dayu just doesn't tell Decker that they were married. In the past few episodes, every time they're together, she's like, "Oh, if only you knew the truth." But like, what's stopping her? It's not part of the curse. Like, if you tell Decker the truth, he'll be destroyed. Also, while on the topic, it was Serrator that made this deal with Dayu all those years ago, turning her and Decker into Nylock. I thought it was supposed to be a surprise, but it's never really made a big deal out of, which confuses me. If Dayu knew from the beginning that Serrator tricked her, why did she trust him again to fix her harmonium? Whatever, we got other important things to talk about, like Bulk and Spike. They see the evil fountain and decide to take action, wanting to plug it up themselves. They do this by creating a giant ball of gum.
It's chewing time!
Meanwhile, Antonio finds Decker. He wants to strike him down, but Decker taunts him. Naturally, Antonio once again can't bring himself to do it. Decker calls his empathy a weakness before striking him. Luckily, Mike and Kevin show up to defend him. But now the time has come. Serrator offers Decker his Uramasa in exchange for opening the portal. All he has to do is slash at the earth, and he'll be free of the curse. And with his Uramasa in hand, Serrator of all people should have known better than to try and make a deal with a Nylok. Decker says he doesn't share Serrator's hatred for humanity. All he cares about is his sword. The portals then close up, with Bulk and Spike plugging one up with their gumball. I'm calling it a win. Good job, guys. So now there's only one thing left to do.
Ultimate Samurai Slash!
With Decker saying he'll end his curse on his own terms. Serrator was an interesting villain. He was cunning and a bit chaotic. Being directly tied to Dayu and Decker also let them be more involved plot-wise, which I really like. I do wish there were more interactions between Dayu and Decker with Serrator. Again, the whole time I thought Dayu didn't know who he was, which would have made up for her being duped twice, and all the more tragic when she found out his identity. Also, you had this elaborate plan that took thousands of years. Why did you need Decker? And why did you create Decker to only care about fighting? Why didn't you make him only care about helping you? Oh well, what can you do? Fight fire with fire. Jaden receives a letter saying that it changes everything and that the others will finally learn his secret. Meanwhile, Octoroo and Dayu come up with a plan while Xandred is still recovering. They summon a powerful Nylok and plan to destroy Jaden. The Nylok shoots blasts that only affect Jaden. It increases the fire spirit within someone and burns them from the inside. He takes hit after hit with the others trying to protect him. Jaden losing so much energy, he still manages to shoot the Nylok with the Bazooka before demorphing and passing out, telling Kevin to take the lead. During the Megazord fight though, we see a woman approach Jaden, telling him she'll take it from there. The Lion Folding Zord then shows up on the battlefield, with everyone being confused since Jaden is still unconscious. It destroys the Nylok single-handedly, and we're greeted with another Red Ranger. Not just any Red Ranger, this is Lauren, Jaden's older sister. Mentor then fills everyone in on what's going on. Lauren is the true head of the Shiba clan. This whole time she was working on completing the sealing spell to trap Master Xandred, but to make sure she could master it uninterrupted, Jaden would then take on the role as leader of the team. And that's his secret. He's not the true Red Ranger. So, his secret was just being Emily. Having a sister who was supposed to be the Ranger, but instead they took their place. Her morpher though is cool. It's the one from Shinkenger that has a paintbrush tip at the end, making the kanji writing all the more relevant.
Oh, I could write kanji symbols like a master with this thing.
Mike has kanji issues.
Kanji? They're calling it kanji now? This is literally the first time the word kanji has been said. What happened to symbol power? That's stupid. And unfortunately, things are about to get a lot stupider. Okay, so Lauren is taking care of Jaden, saying how she's excited to learn about her new friends and family, considering she's been isolated ever since she was a kid to master the sealing power. She's never had a friend and barely knows her brother. She's happy, but Jaden says that he can't be there anymore because the Rangers are too loyal to him, and him being there is a distraction? What?
They're too loyal to me. If I stay, dangerous mistakes could be made.
So, Jaden, of his own accord, is leaving. Not only the Rangers, but the Shiba house. AKA his house. And during Lauren's welcoming party of all times, come on! Everyone is sad that Jaden is leaving, and Mentor says he's already made up his mind, saying goodbye to everyone before leaving. Again, Jaden literally has no reason to leave. He just wants to. And the Rangers are absolutely heartbroken over it.
Somehow, fighting next to him made me a stronger warrior.
What do you mean? Lauren, in one episode, has just as much character and depth as Jaden. They're both blonde, they're both Shibas, and they're both leaders. That's it. And the Rangers are being such dicks to Lauren, saying, "I'm sure you're great, but you're no Jaden." The final shot of the episode is literally Lauren being sad. Why would you do this? Why are all of a sudden the Rangers so emotional and rude? Just off the top of my head, if you needed Jaden to be gone and the Rangers to dislike Lauren, why make her likable? Why not make her like Alex from Time Force, a strict leader who nobody wants to take orders from? You've already established she's not used to having friends, so treating them like soldiers instead of teammates would have been the perfect transition for that. But maybe I'm being too harsh. I guess the only way to find out is to check out the next episode. The Great Duel. Decker once again confronts Jaden, and with Jaden being a lost soul wandering without purpose, he accepts his fight. Him and Decker spend the entire episode fighting all throughout the forest. It's pretty cool, I'll be honest. Back at the Sheba house, though, the Rangers are being jerks. Lauren's training alone and nobody wants to join because she's not Jaden.
She's our leader. You know Jaden never liked it when you challenged him.
She's not Jaden.
Mentor says he'll look for Jaden. He eventually finds him and Decker fighting, before they both get knocked away and spend some time talking, reminiscing about how life was simpler when it was just the two of them, leading to a flashback with Jaden's father, where he says this.
Remember, protect the world from evil. Stand by your allies. Never run from a battle.
His father explicitly says, stand by your allies. I thought this was gonna be a come-to-truth moment for Jaden, realizing he shouldn't have abandoned his friends, but it's not. And the others are still giving Lauren the cold shoulder. It's just so annoying. They keep talking about how much they miss Jaden. Did the Rangers cry when Jason went to the peace conference? Did B Squad cry when Jack left? Even the Time Force crew followed Alex again for a little bit. But these Rangers are crying and throwing temper tantrums, willing to sacrifice the mission as a whole just for Jaden, which feels unwarranted. Lauren actually has more depth to her character already. When Mia cooks dinner, Lauren absolutely loves it, because she spent her entire life on a super strict samurai diet, and Mia's food is something unique and different. Life as a whole is new to her, and she's loving every second of it. Eventually, a Nightlock attacks the city and the Rangers gotta fight. Their first mission in battle with Lauren as the Red Ranger. Where? It goes off without a hitch! She's a great leader, and they destroy the Nightlock. The episode ends with Mentor returning home saying he found Jaden, who, despite being badly injured, is still continuing his battle with Decker. Evil Reborn. Everyone wants to abandon the mission to look for Jaden, and Kevin is the only one with common sense, saying they need to protect the city from the Nightlock, telling everyone else to go while he stays with Lauren. It's a good character moment for Kevin. He's the only one who's been dedicated to the samurai mission, and despite feeling hurt that his friend is gone, he knows his responsibilities, even managing to cheer up Lauren. She tells him to go with the others, but he says he's staying, even calling Lauren his friend, which she appreciates. The episode is a tale of two emotions. The Jaden and Decker fight is really exciting and holds more weight. Decker saying that without being the leader, he's now a lost wandering soul, much like himself. Eventually, Lauren tells Kevin to just join the others since it's clear he's worrying about Jaden. We've now reached the final stretch of their battle. Surrounded in a ring of fire, both Jaden and Decker are barely holding on for dear life. Decker tries to raise his sword, but can't. Not because he's weak, but because he has a spiritual connection to Dayu who's holding it down, where for a moment, he sees his wife and remembers everything. Dayu tells him not to fight, but Decker says he needs it and she lets him go. But Jaden walks away believing the fight is over. Decker, still blinded by his curse, goes to strike Jaden and... Kevin lands the finishing blow, where Decker's soul can finally be free of the Nightlock's curse. Kevin being the one to land the final blow is so perfect, not only because it's unexpected, but this was also Decker's fatal flaw. He believed that Jaden having friends was his weakness, that having them around would lead to his downfall, but it's because of all of his friends' loyalty that he was struck down himself. The cinematography and action choreography was also beautiful here. Every frame is something to admire. Now, the downsides. Jaden still never had a strong motivation for this fight, just saying how he needs to stop the evil, which is so boring. Also, when it comes to Dayu, I wish that instead of Decker just saying, "I need to do this," he instead expanded on that, saying something about how his curse has clouded his mind so much that he doesn't even remember anything about the love of his life. Remembering her face and remembering that they were married, but not knowing anything apart from that, because the only thing that's been on his mind for all of these years is fighting, saying that he wants to be destroyed so that maybe in the afterlife, he can be happy with his memories of her. Or something, I don't know. Back at the Sheba house, we get a nice moment between Antonio and Lauren bonding. Wow, the bare minimum. The Rangers show up to fight more Nightlock, this time with Jaden accompanying them. Mia then runs into Dayu, who's saddened by Decker's death, that she plays a song filled to the brim with despair. Mia strikes down Dayu, but destroying the harmonium released the despair. And there was so much there that it revived Master Zandrid and is allowing him to walk the earth once again. The ceiling symbol. Master Zandrid praises Dayu's music, saying it was especially strong with despair and pain, but she says she didn't play it for him, but for Decker. But Zandrid doesn't care, absorbing Dayu's life energy into himself. Lauren tells the Rangers that now's the time for her to use the sealing spell. It takes a while to activate though, and she needs the others to keep him busy. So, Kevin uses the black box, Mike uses the shark attack mode, which looks really cool. It reminds me of Zack using the dragon shield. And together, they all fight Zandrid. Lauren finishes the sealing symbol and shoots it at Zandrid. But it doesn't work. Dayu being absorbed has now made Zandrid part human, and the sealing power was meant to seal away full Nylok. Now, also no longer needing Sanzu river water to be hydrated. So, he strikes the Rangers before heading back to the Netherworld for his final preparations. The last attack broke Lauren's arm. Not only that, but totally destroyed her morale. She spent her entire life mastering that sealing power, only for a monkey wrench to be thrown in last minute. So, she turns over the leadership back to Jaden, who accepts and comes up with a new plan. To simply use brute force. Sounds stupid on paper, however, Master Zandrid's new humanity side has given him a weakness. His Nylok side is weakened by Lauren's sealing power, so all that's left is to destroy his human weakness. The Sanzu River starts flooding onto the Earth, with Zandrid leading the charge, and every single Mooger at his disposal. The Rangers head to the quarry and see what they're up against, insanely outnumbered, but not caring, jumping into the fight without a second thought. They all lay waste to the Moogers, with Jaden using a new disc that Lauren made, the Shiba Family Fire Disc. He plans to use that to power up his sword and land the finishing blow on Zandrid. But it's also not enough, destroying the disc and hitting the Rangers so hard they demorph, planning to now take care of Lauren while the Rangers lay there lifeless. Samurai forever. Lauren is using the last of her energy to make one more Shiba Fire Disc. It can only be used once, but will pack an incredible punch. Meanwhile, the Rangers wake up and are confronted by Moogers. We then get a really exciting unmorphed fight, the Rangers slicing down every last Mooger in their way. No matter how outnumbered they are. Mentor shows up and gives Jaden the disc, and with it in hand, they once again find Zandrid and continue to fight. The Shiba Fire Disc is kind of badass. It gives Jaden 2 Fire Smashers, 2 cakes, which are finally able to land some solid hits on Zandrid. And to make sure they finish him off, Jaden activates the Shogun mode. Oh, hell yeah! And with that, they land the finishing blow on Zandrid. Of course though, he has a giant form. They summon the Gigazord and Jaden has a plan to demorph and save every ounce of their symbol power, so they can put it into one strike that will destroy Zandrid. They make their way to him while Zandrid destroys Zord after Zord, taking tons of damage but pushing on, finally getting close enough to land the Samurai Strike! And with it, Zandrid is defeated. The Sanzu River water heads back to the Netherworld, and Octoru is the only Nylok left. The Samurai Rangers have completed their mission. Before getting to the Rangers, we still got Bulk and Spike. It's time for Spike to head back home, where a limo pulls up with Skull inside. He's clearly doing well for himself, as well as getting some classic and nostalgic banter between the two.
You haven't changed a bit.
Neither have you, Skullovich.
Like I said in the beginning, the more things change, the more they stay the same. The Rangers also say their goodbyes. Antonio's going on a fishing expedition, Mia's going to cooking school, Kevin still has time to qualify for the Olympic swim team, Emily's simply going back home, but with Mike joining her. And as for Jaden, for the first time in his life, he can finally just relax and have fun. Mentor getting him a guitar for starters. And what about Lauren? Who cares? Nobody cares about Lauren, that's what this show taught me. Play us out, Jaden. And with that, Power Ranger Samurai comes to an end. I was definitely a bit more critical on Samurai towards the end, but I think that's just because I saw its true potential. I don't care if it was just gonna be a dubbed Shinkenger. If that was the plan, then go all out and commit. Make this a 1-to-1 Power Ranger Shinkenger adaptation. The last half of Samurai both intensifies the plot and action, while making things worse. I wanted to enjoy the Jaden and Decker stuff, but it was hard because it was surrounded by the Lauren nonsense. It really made the Rangers unlikable and made them look like selfish children. Lauren doesn't even get to say goodbye to the team. Yeah, this girl who had no friends or family growing up, spent her whole life making a sealing symbol that didn't work and is probably suffering some kind of sadness from that. Who cares? Just leave out the back door while us friends say goodbye. Jaden is still the biggest missed opportunity as a Ranger. Here's a simple story path for Jaden I came up with in my head. I truly believe the best move was to make him a lone wolf who didn't want teammates. Stick with that for most of the show's run, slowly needing to learn to accept and rely on them. only to have them be taken away by a strict Lauren, never telling the other Rangers his secret because at first he didn't care about them and felt like it was none of their business, but as time went on, he learned to appreciate his friends. He'd now be afraid to tell them the truth because in his mind, they'd lose respect for him. Then you have Jaden lose the only things he's ever known, fighting the Nylok and having new friends. It would make fighting Decker feel more thematically appropriate, since both of them have no purpose and Decker could poison Jaden's mind into thinking that this fight is all he's worth. Just an idea at the tippy-toppy of my head. But no, having him just be a guy works fine too. Antonio was surprisingly given a lot to do. Without him, they wouldn't have half of their abilities and gadgets. The rest of the Rangers were also fine. They finished the show how they started. The same. My feelings on them are the same from the beginning of the show. Bulk and Spike were also there. The best part was having Skull be there and Spike be in the car. The only reason I'm so critical, again, was because I truly wanted to love this season through and through. Even as it stands, and despite all of my criticism aside, I'll be honest, I still really like Samurai. Maybe it's just nostalgia talking, but I still think it's a solid season. The action is fun, the cinematography is well done, and I do recommend Samurai if you've never seen it. I'm now personally interested in watching Shinkenger and seeing how it compares. Maybe a possible video in the future? Let me know. For now though, there's no time for that. The next season we're checking out is a big one, and it's going to be special. The 20-year anniversary of Power Rangers. A really big deal in any franchise. I'm hoping it'll be big. I'm hoping it'll be mega. No, to make everyone happy and to do Power Rangers justice, this has to be super mega. Oh.